Hi. In this tutorial, I will show you all basic features of 360 Webspin. You can open images by clicking on the Open File feature or by simply dragging and dropping them onto the black area in the program or even just onto the program icon. The resolution of the images you load will later define the maximum resolution when zooming into the finished rotating object. While very large objects will allow for a much more detailed display while zooming, they may also have to be reloaded repeatedly as the user looks at them, since most internet browsers will only cache images up to a certain size. 360 Webspin is able to generate single as well as multi-row turntables. Under Horizontal, you define how many pictures you took per revolution, and under Vertical, you set how many rows you have shot. If you multiply both fields with each other, it must give you the number of all images that have been loaded. Here, you can set which image of your 360-degree object should be displayed first. This means that it does not matter which position of the turntable you shot first. Set the output size of the canvas here. This is the size of the area where the turntable objects will later be displayed on the web page. The images will be trimmed to fit the canvas as large as possible without changing their ratio. If you want your canvas to have the same ratio as your images, you define either the width or the height of the area and then click the Adapt button underneath the other value. The finished turntable object can then be zoomed from the size of the canvas all the way to the size of your loaded original images. If you want the canvas to have the same size as the original images, you can retrieve the resolution with one click on the Image button. However, this will deactivate the zoom feature for the turntable object. If the canvas and the loaded images do not have the same ratio, the images will always appear at the center of the canvas and the controls will always be displayed at the bottom. The graphic indicating that there is an interactive rotating object will always appear at the center as long as it has not been deactivated. Here, you can set whether the turntable object will automatically start rotating after a certain amount of time. In addition to a time after which the rotation should start, you can also set the speed of the rotation in frames per second. You can also specify if the object will rotate once or permanently until the user stops the rotation by interacting, and whether it should always rotate in the same direction or go back and forth. If you do not want for the rotation to start automatically, you can simply deactivate this feature. Here, you can define which buttons to control the rotating object should be displayed and how close they should be together. In addition to the buttons that control the rotation, an image can be displayed that indicates that the object can also be turned with the mouse or, in case of a touchscreen, with a finger. We have produced a separate video to show you how to integrate your own controls and how to use the same icons for several turntable objects and how you can replace them all at once. When you have entered all settings, you can save your interactive rotating object by clicking on the Export button. This will place an HTML file as well as a folder containing the icons and an additional JavaScript file into either the folder containing the loaded images, into a subfolder of that folder, or into a location of your choice. You can specify the names of the HTML file and the folder here. You can find the turntable object that you have exported last via this button or use this button to open it directly in your browser. If you want to try various settings in 360 Webspin one after the other, you can just export the same turntable object once again without changing its name and then refresh your browser. Before loading the next images for another rotating object, you have to delete the current images from Webspin. You can find more video tutorials on topics like using your own controls or integration of 360-degree objects into your own website under www.picture-instruments.com under Products, Webspin, Tutorials. 360 Webspin. Better presentations made easy.